and it took me the rest of the day to regain my strength to start work afresh the next day. Now, although my health is good and I would like to fulfill immediately the longing of my lovers to come to me. So, as we noted right at the start, that it was perhaps in answer to the cries, the longing of his lovers. He says, now, although my health is good and I would like to fulfill immediately the longing of my lovers to come to see me, many of whom will see me for the first time, it will yet take some time for all traces of the strain to disappear and for me to be 100% fit to see them all. And so, because of this and for practical considerations also, I have decided to give my darshan only to my lovers and not to the general public. So, the first condition that he lays down for the Great Darshan program is that he will give darshan only to his lovers. And in that, he said, as we noted earlier on, he said that there would be lovers who may come to who would come to see him for the first time, but it is only for his lovers and not for the general public. Then he says further, it's a very significant statement. This is the time for my lovers. So this great darshan program was only for his lovers. The time for the world's crowds to come to me will be when I break my silence and manifest my divinity. Then Baba goes on to compare this program, the Great Darshan, with the East West gathering of 1962. And he says again, in his own words, if I were to quote, the 1962 East West gathering was nothing compared with what this gathering will be. This is because while I was working intensely in seclusion, my worker lovers all over the world were intensely active telling the world about me. And my message is spreading in many parts of the West now, like a forest fire before a strong wind, as it had already done in many areas of India. So, here perhaps he gives us a little hint or a clue as to the work he was doing in seclusion and what would be the outcome of that, and links that with the great darshan. Further, he says, I will give my darshan daily for 2 hours in the morning and for 2 hours in the afternoon to small numbers up to 500 people at a time. But I will not see any of my lovers individually or give private interviews because it would not be possible. And this is my part of the bargain. So he lays down very clearly his side of the bargain, that he will give darshan in small numbers, morning and afternoon, but no private interviews, and no lovers are allowed to see him individually. He further says how the lovers come to Pune and are accommodated will be the concern of each one who comes. Now, these are some of the core basic conditions that Baba lays down in this at the start of this particular meeting. Explaining about this darshan to be given, Baba said, once I start the darshan program, I'll be responsible for giving darshan each day for 2 hours in the morning to the Westerners and 2 hours in the afternoon to the Easterners, even if it takes me 2 months. Then, regarding arrangements for the darshan, he says, I leave it entirely to all of you, the workers, but there should be mutual coordination between different Baba centers regarding those coming for darshan. Baba continued. In the 1962 and 65 Savas meetings, large awnings were constructed. The Pune center had to ask for financial aid from other centers. It will not be possible to house all lovers under awnings during the coming darshan program in April. I am not going to ask lovers to donate for the program. You will have to arrange everything yourselves. So, again, here we see his meticulous involvement in every detail, including the financial part, and how practical he was. Addressing Dr. Barucha, who was sitting over there, Dr. Oshung Barucha, he said, it's a great strain for me to keep the link with my physical body. Gaber has told me that to hammer my thighs is not good for my already injured leg. But that is the only recourse, Baba says. Now my work and seclusion are over, but it will take some time to completely recover. Sometimes my legs get tremors, but in time this will also go away, he says. And then he addresses everyone and says, but do not forget that I am God. Then he directs Era Chankal to draft out the Life Circular number 70, which was later issued on the 1st of November 1968, and it began again very unique in a very unique manner. It was worded very uniquely. The circular says, all lovers of Avatar Meher Baba in the East and the West are eagerly awaiting word from him regarding his giving darshan somewhere, sometime, somehow. These three words are very interesting. Sometime, somewhere, somehow. Avatar Meher Baba now declares that he will give darshan to his lovers, but only on the terms laid down by him in this particular circular. So the circular, as we discussed or as we noted, went on to list the conditions of darshan, and Baba repeatedly stated again and again that this darshan would be strictly for his lovers, old and new, eastern and western, and not open for the general public. He said, in this regard, again he commented, when I break my silence, crowds will come to me. If you do not adhere to this instruction, you will be the losers, since you will not get as much time with me. So, this was an intimate gathering, meticulously planned by the avatar himself of his lovers and not for his general public, for the general public, because he says that when he breaks his silence, crowds will come, and those who have been invited for this particular darshan program, if they do not adhere to this instruction of just keeping this program for his lovers alone, the lovers will not be able, they will be the losers because they will not get as much time with him, because there will be a huge surge of people coming to him. Then, of course, Baba laid down, the arrangements that need to be made for lovers coming from Australia, from the US, from Europe, from Pakistan, from Iran, Africa, and of course, all other parts of India. And the nature of those arrangements were meticulously listed down by him. The circular ended by saying, Baba says that those who want to come and cannot come. Now, those who want to come but cannot come to Pune for his darshan should not feel upset or disheartened, but remain resigned to his love, knowing that sometime, somewhere, somehow, his darshan is assured to them also. So he is the slave of the love of his lovers. And every crying heart, the cry that comes out from the heart is heard by him. And so, for even those who were not able to come, who wanted to come but would not come for this intimate gathering in Guru Prasad, he said they should remain resigned to his love, knowing that sometime, somewhere, somehow, his darshan is assured for them as well. And the last line says Baba wants the current restriction on correspondence to continue as now and be more strictly observed. So, after the meeting ended, Neeraj uncle, being the practical one, as we all know him, or knew him rather, he tried his level best to dissuade Baba from sending this circular out. Because he felt it was impossible for Baba to give darshan considering his precarious health, his weakening health. Neeraj uncle said, this is not going to work for you, Baba. Baba was adamant, and he replied again in his own words, I quote, I will give darshan. I want them to come, so send this circular out. And so Iraj obeyed. The draft was sent to Adikaka's office, and from there it was dispatched, and many telegrams and letters started arriving in response. And from time to time, Baba would bring the subject of the great darshan up. And one day, during this period, he punned. He said, quote, in March, you all march to Pune. So we can we can see how close how closely involved he was with this particular program, that he was not just involved in the planning part, but from time to time he would talk about it, he would mention it, and he was as if he was eagerly waiting, like a father waiting for his child, eagerly waiting for his children, his lovers, to come to him in Guru Prasad and get a small glimpse or experience a small glimpse of his love. On another occasion, Hiraj uncle again brought up this subject and he put it rather differently to Baba. He pleaded before Baba, saying, Baba, instead of organizing these mass darshan programs, why not just let there be darshan every day? There will not be this kind of a mad rush or circumstances which are so oppressive for us all. And naturally, it will not be as tiresome for you as well. He went on to reason, saying that when thousands come, the mothers have to stand in the queue for hours in the hot sun holding small babies. And all the time, Baba, you yourself will be deeply concerned about where will they stay at night, how will they pass the night, how will they return home, whether they get seats on the train, etc., etc., etc. So here, uncle said, Papa, why all this? Why not give darshan every day? Again, very cleverly, he tries to put this point up, saying, we will fix the time also, Baba, each day when darshan will be available. And we will not need to bother about anyone's lodging or boarding or any such thing. Let them come every day, he says, it will be so much easier. The master knows everything. And as he said, he was ustadon ke ustad. He replied, that time will also come. Now, this is a very significant response. And in my limited, very limited understanding, it gives the significance of this great darshan program. He says that time will also come, but not now. Not now, though, but it will come after we come back from Pune. There will be darshan every day, but only after we return from Pune. Now, Mani Aunty was in the hall, and after hearing this exchange, she envisioned an entirely new set of circulars. She wrote a new set of circulars announcing darshan every day, and later another one cancelling it for reasons of Baba's health. So she tried to stall any sudden announcements by interjecting, Baba, why not wait and see how you feel? You can then decide. Baba listened and gently repeated, every day, every day. But only when I come back from Pune, there will be darshan every day. And ladies and gentlemen, that darshan every day now continues from his samadhi, where we lay down our heads at his threshold. On another occasion at this time, Baba on his own remarked, again quote, there will come a time when your love will bring me to your own house, your own room. There will come a time when I'll be seeing my lovers not at one place but at thousands of places at one time. It is your love that can make it possible. And then on the 23rd of December 1968 at Merazad, Baba told the entire gathering again a significant statement in light of the Great Darshan program. He said, remember, this body that you see is not me. I am the ocean of infinite love. The time has come to show the world I am the Avatar. And therefore, on Tuesday, 7th January 1969, Baba dictated this circular, which was issued through Adikaka as Life Circular number 71 on the 15th of January. And in it was written, again, beloved Avatar Meher Baba wishes his lovers to know that his 3 years of intense work has shattered his health. In spite of this, he has invited his lovers from all over the world to come to him for his darshan next summer, for it is the time for them to come to him and receive his love. It is the time and the place. Guru Prasad, 24 Bangarden Road, Pune, has been fixed. But with the present condition of his health, how beloved Baba will give his darshan to the thousands who will come, yet remains to be determined. But it will be. He will give his darshan. This darshan, now a very significant statement from Baba, this darshan, Baba says, will be the last given in silence. The last before he speaks his word, renewing the word of words. And so, one must note no one should write telegrams or cables for Baba's blessings for persons or events or programs, and all many other conditions were listed down. But the significant part of this particular circular is this darshan, Baba says, will be the last given in silence, the last before he speaks his word of words. And in the earlier part, in the exchange with Erachankal, we noted where he mentioned that he will give darshan every single day, but only after we come back from Pune. Now, once the Mandali saw that Baba was really determined to go ahead with this program, they started exhorting him to shift to Pune before his usual time at the end of March for further tests because his health was deteriorating. But Baba was really unwilling. It was at this time, perhaps to relieve the Mandali's fears, that Baba began mentioning another aspect. He said, I will now start giving darshan lying down. So, again, in his own words, he says, if I give my darshan to my lovers lying down, would there be anything wrong in that? The Mandli replied, of course not. Why would it be wrong? Your lover's only concern is to see your pleasure. And Baba's deteriorating health condition caused the Mandli to worry, and they continued to wonder how would it be possible for him to give darshan for 2 months. They were apprehensive about whether his body could withstand such a strain. But Baba assured them, beautifully, he says, it will be easy, again I quote, it will be easy for me to give my lovers darshan. So you are not to feel concerned. I will give darshan reclining, and that will be no strain on my body. He goes on to say further, again, another significant aspect, significant point related to this darshan program. It will be different from all previous darshans, and it will be the last in silence. It will be the darshan of darshans, unparalleled. Although I will be reclining, I'll be very strong. My physical condition now is because of my work. But by then, my work will be complete and my exaltation will be great. He gives the example, a pauper. Baba says a pauper winning a bumper lottery can become so excited over his fortune that he collapses and dies. My fortune, he says, will be in my work being finished and in the knowledge of its certain results. But my exaltation will not cause my collapse, it will be my glory. So, this is the last darshan given in silence, darshan of darshans, Baba says, and he says it will be no strain on him because he will give the darshan while he is reclining, but he will be very strong. And his work will be complete, as he says. His exaltation will be great. He says it will be my glory. Now, again, Erich Uncle broached the subject of Baba's health. And he pointed out to him, this is again, as we look at the series of events, he pointed out to Baba, he says, Baba, if you wish to cancel the approaching darshan, it is still possible. Baba again refused. He said, no, it is not to be cancelled. I will give my darshan to my lovers and I will give it on my own terms. Very important. He emphasized to them repeatedly, simply do as I say, whatever it may be, for I know what I am doing. Hold on to my daman. Do not let it slip away under any circumstances. Now, We come down to the last few days, 26th of January, Sunday morning. Baba was transferred on a surgical bed. He felt comfortable, but the spasms were continuing. And uh, Gaver remarked, Baba remarked that I think it would be easier for the doctors Ginde and Grant to call on me whenever Gaver feels it is necessary. If we all shift to Guru Prasad soon, and Erach uncle immediately jumped in saying, well, Baba, everything at Guru Prasad is ready. You should just tell us the date and we will all shift there. And then Baba replied that while earlier on he was adamant not to move to Pune, here he is saying, okay, any day that would be convenient to you all and those in Pune. But then he brings in a point saying, but the women will need at least 7 days to pack. So Erad said, Baba, I will inform Merji and Merwan today of your decision. Baba stopped him, saying he would definitely let him know tomorrow about the date to shift to Pune. And then at 1:30 p.m. on the same day, Baba informed the Mandli that he will go to Pune only at the end of March. So, of course, after Baba dropped his body on the 31st of January, on the 8th of February 1969, Adikaka sent a telegram throughout the world saying, despite Baba's physical absence, those lovers who desire to visit Guru Prasad Pune to honor Baba's invitation for darshan up to the 10th of June can still come, abiding strictly to the scheduled dates and conditions as per family letter dated 1st November 1968. Journey will now include a half a day visit to Meherabad to pay homage at Baba's tomb. After 10th June, anyone can make pilgrimage to Pune and Baba's tomb individually or collectively. Understand that all arrangements must be made on one's own. Inform all concerned in your area. Jai Baba. And so the Great Darshan program went ahead in Guru Prasad as Baba's chair. His photograph was kept on the chair, and programs were organized meticulously as he wanted. The Mandli was there. And I recollect a beautiful incident that happened during this darshan program, and perhaps we'll try and wrap it up with that little with this beautiful incident which was narrated by Erach uncle. That many years ago, Baba would, from time to time, he would release uh, circulars stating that he would break his silence on X particular date or X month in X year, and the circular would be released, and nothing of that kind would happen. And Iraj was really upset about it, and he told Baba that, Baba, why are you doing this? What is the purpose of sending out circulars in public stating that you will break your silence when nothing of that sort is really happening? And Baba, was as once said, I know what I'm doing. Now, of course, years passed. Baba dropped his body. This great darshan program was organized. And Neeraj uncle says that he he was speaking to the people there assembled one day during this program, and he asked whether anybody would like to say anything. And a gentleman from Mumbai, from Bombay as it was known in those days, stood up and said he would like to speak. And he was a stranger. He was not. He was seen over there for the first time. So he came and he said that I am I was not a follower of Meher Baba, but I was a follower of his circulars. And Irach uncle, in his mind, he says that I was thinking, oh God, why did I give him this opportunity to speak on a controversial subject like that? But the gentleman goes ahead and he says that every time we would receive these circulars in which it was written that Meher Baba uh, would break his silence on so and so day at so and so time, and nothing of that kind happened. And we would all sit and laugh. Me and my friends would all sit and laugh and think that this man is a fraud and he will be caught one day. And so the years passed, and he said we would get the circulars from time to time, and we would see it, and he would say that, he will break his silence on X day, and nothing of that kind would happen. And we would all laugh and think he will be caught. Years passed, and one day the news came. He says that Meher Baba has dropped his body, and it was afternoon time. I was in my house in Mumbai. And as I was absorbing the news, I thought to myself that if this man was a fraud, he would have been caught by now. But the number of people who follow him, who love him, is only increasing by the day. If he was a fraud, he would have been caught by now. But the number of people following him is only going up. And so he goes on to say, so beautifully, he says, I wish I followed him while he was there instead of following his circulars. And that was an eye opener for Erachankal, as he says. The agitation that he felt in his mind about Baba repeatedly saying that he will break his silence. And as he has always said, Erachankal has always explained this to us, that perhaps the meaning of Baba breaking his silence is breaking his silence in the hearts of his lovers, and for people to come to him. And so this great darshan program was held, in which, as Baba himself said, the old lovers and many new lovers and many new people came who did not see him physically, but who absorbed his love, who were full of his love. Because it was the greatest darshan, as Baba said, given. It was a darshan of darshans given in silence. And we can very well imagine the his chair in Guru Prasad was kept there, and while physically he was absent, his presence was felt by everyone over there. The chair there was certainly not empty. His presence was there because he was involved in it. He mentioned, he planned it, and he executed it to the T, like he always did. And all his lovers who were thirsting for his darshan, I am sure, would have got their hearts filled. So I will end this particular talk with a sincere prayer of thanks to and a sincere prayer of gratitude to our eternal beloved Avatar Meher Baba for giving us so many opportunities to love him. These darshan programs, and the great darshan program being a significant one amongst them, was a way for his lovers to connect with him internally. All external connections, as Baba said, or all external programs are meant to develop the inner connect. And the only significance that one can say of this great darshan program, as he said, that a darshan of darshans was to develop that inner connect for all his lovers. And may this inner connect continue to grow for all of us. Thank you very much, and all the very best to all of you. Avatar Meher Baba ki jai. Avatar Meher Baba ki jai. Avatar Meher Baba ki jai. Thank you. Jai Baba.
Thank you, Meher Nosh. And you may be outside, but you said that you will be watching. So thank you once again from wherever you are there watching this. Now, because it is getting very close to lunch time, so we may start James Newell for 10-15 minutes, then we will have our lunch break. And please come 15 minutes before 3 o'clock, because our scheduled time is 3 o'clock. So those who wish to see this remaining part of James Newell, please come at 2:45, so we can have first tea, and after that we can start with. So now some part of Jimmy Newell's, and the title is The Growth and Future of Meher Baba's Movement. James Newell from USA.
Future of the Meher Baba movement. Introduction. The Meher Baba movement has entered into what might well be called the post-Mondli era. This is a period of time that brings with it unprecedented challenges for those institutions and individuals interested in preserving Meher Baba's legacy. Questions now arise that previous generations of Meher Baba's followers seldom had to confront directly. The purpose of this presentation is not to offer definitive answers. Rather, our goal is to stimulate thoughtful discussion about the unique paradox that Meher Baba has left to his followers. On the one hand, he encourages his followers to work towards preserving his life's work and legacy. On the other hand, he made it clear that he did not wish to found a religion in his name. He called on his followers to work together harmoniously, while at the same time, he encouraged each to follow their own individual path to God. The natural question which emerges is, how might these three mandates be honored simultaneously? The Meher Baba movement stands at a critical juncture. The transition from Meher Baba's direct presence to the 1969 Darshan and the emergence of his Mandali as helpful guides and advisors has led now to the ongoing development of institutional structures meant to preserve his legacy. This movement represents a fundamental shift in how Meher Baba's legacy might be maintained and communicated to others. If history is any measure, then how Meher Baba's followers approach this shift today may well continue to have an impact in the coming centuries. The expectation of growth. Compared to the number of followers of past avatars and the number of followers of the great world religions today, the number of people who follow Meher Baba today remains relatively small. However, the numbers are continuing to grow. For those who do follow Meher Baba today, it's widely accepted as inevitable that the numbers will continue to grow as the years go by. Meher Baba has said that he is the avatar, the same avatar who has come throughout history. In his universal message, given on July 10, 1958 at Meherabad, he has said that, quote, man's inability to live God's words makes the avatar's teaching a mockery, close quote. He goes on to say that because of this, in his present avataric form, he lays down no precepts. Even so, the followers of every avatar named by Meher Baba, Zoroaster, Ram, Krishna, Buddha, Jesus, and Muhammad, all have established a religious institution of some type. These institutions have now grown into massive world religions, complete with clergies and priesthoods, dogmas, doctrines, rituals, and ceremonies. None of these were a part of the Avatar's original message to the world. In his universal message and elsewhere, Meher Baba has expressed his displeasure at how the Avatar's followers of the past have failed to live up to the spirit of the Avatar's message and teachings. In Bao Kalchuri's biography of Meher Baba, Lord Meher, it is reported that in December 1927, Meher Baba said, quote, "Who gave all these different religions? The Avatars. Why have they done so? To establish principles for people and to bring people to the point where their faces are turned toward God. Muhammad and Buddha each gave different precepts, according to the circumstances and mentality of the people of the time." Close quote. On another occasion at Meherabad, on November 22, 1930, Meher Baba said, quote, "The prophets lay down certain rules and practices to help the masses lead better lives and to incline them toward God. These rules become the tenets of an organized religion, but the idealistic spirit and motive force which prevailed during the prophet's lifetime gradually disappear after his death. That is why organizations cannot bring spiritual truth home to people. Religious organizations become like archaeological departments, trying to resuscitate the past. Therefore, I shall not attempt to establish any new religion, cult, or organization. I shall rejuvenate and revitalize the religious thought of all people and instill a higher understanding of life in them." Close quote. In October 1922 in Bombay, speaking of the religion into which he had been born, Meher Baba said, quote, "The light of Zoroaster has been extinguished by his followers themselves. His was the highest form of Sufism. If Zoroaster were born again in this material world, he would find it difficult to recognize his own religious tenets, as practiced by the present-day followers of his creed. The same is true of all religions. The Muslim mullahs, Hindu pundits, Zoroastrian dasturs, and Christian priests have mutilated the original religion for their own selfish ends." Close quote. Patterns of institutionalization. Like Meher Baba, academic scholars in the field of religious studies have also noticed that throughout history, certain patterns have emerged in the evolution of religious institutions. Scholars describe these institutions as beginning from the teachings of a single charismatic individual. They say that such an individual possesses unusual personal magnetism and teaches spiritual ideals to his followers. After the death of this individual, the teachings are written down, and certain traditions and behaviors begin to be recognized and considered to be correct. As time goes on, more and more people begin to be attracted to these teachings. In response to the social pressure of such large numbers of followers, certain interpretations of Scripture and behavior are codified into doctrines. Following this, disagreements arise in terms of interpretation and practice, and certain groups break out into different sects, each with its own understanding of what beliefs and behaviors are the correct ones and which beliefs and behaviors are incorrect. This is nearly identical to what Meher Baba describes when he says, quote, "The organized religions of the world often fail to express the real vision of those who have been the fountainheads of inspiration for their very coming into existence. Dogmas and beliefs, rituals and ceremonies can never be the essence of true spiritual life. When religion has become merely a matter of external rituals and ceremonies, it has become a cage for the soul. Nor does it help very far to change one religion for another. It is like going from one cage to another. If a religion does not help man to emancipate the soul from spiritual bondage and realize God, it has no useful purpose to serve. Then it is time that religion should go to make room for God. I am therefore not interested in founding a new religion. The world is already divided by numberless sects based upon dogmas and beliefs. I have not come to give another cage for man, but to impart to the world the illimitable truth. The world needs awakening and not mere verbal instruction. It needs the freedom and the amplitude of divine life, and not the superficiality of mechanized and pompous forms. It needs love, and not the display of power." Close quote. The central question. The question naturally arises, as numbers continue to grow, what will Meher Baba's followers do that is different from what the followers of past avatars have done? How will they self-consciously avoid falling into the trap that past followers of the avatar have fallen into? Meher Baba often gave his followers orders that seemed contradictory. At the same time, he would leave them to work out the answers for themselves. The question of the future of the Meher Baba movement leaves his followers with a similar type of quandary. On the one hand, he clearly did not want his followers to start a new religion. At the same time, he made it clear that he wanted them to preserve his legacy and to spread his message of love and truth. He encouraged each follower to find their own individual path to God while, at the same time, each one must work cooperatively and harmoniously with others in their efforts to preserve his legacy and spread his message of love and truth. All of this should be done while avoiding the traps of religious institutionalization, dogmas, and ceremonies that might take on importance in their own right, thus overshadowing the life of the Spirit. The challenge of the post-Mandali era. In Meher Baba's physical presence, and later in the presence of his Mandali, honoring this triple mandate did not seem impossibly difficult. But now and in the future, as more and more people become interested in Meher Baba, more centers and institutions will be faced with the question of how to maintain their connection to his original spiritual intentions for his followers. Sociological, economic, and cultural forces have already begun to intensify. These are the same types of forces that operated in past centuries, affecting the legacies of previous avatars. Scholars of religion have observed that social forces inevitably come to bear after the passing of a charismatic spiritual leader. As numbers grow, these forces lead to a shift in focus from the charismatic leader to routine, to doctrine, and to tradition. Such developments are not necessarily problematic. To some extent, such developments are even necessary as followers continue to grow in number. Meher Baba himself recognized the inevitability of such social forces and built guardrails into the documents and charters he developed during his lifetime. According to Meher Baba in his discourses, such systems and routines only become problematic when they begin to take on an importance in their own right. As he says in his discourse on the new humanity, quote, "Forms, ceremonies, and rituals, traditions, and conventions are in most cases fetters to the release of infinite life. If they were a pliant medium for the expression of unlimited life, they would be an asset rather than a handicap for securing the fulfillment of divine life on earth. But they mostly have a tendency to gather prestige and claims in their own right, independently of the life which they might express. When this happens, any attachment to them must eventually lead to a drastic curtailment and restriction of life." Close quote. Meher Baba is saying here that forms, traditions, and conventions hold the potential to be an expression of unlimited life. However, they tend to, as he says, gather prestige and claims in their own right, independently of the life which they might express. Even so, when numbers increase in any faith tradition, forms, structures, and norms become necessary for administrative and organizational purposes. The challenge that Meher Baba has left his followers is the fundamental tension between cooperatively preserving his legacy, yet doing so without creating yet another religion. In his discourses, Meher Baba has said, quote, "The entire process of the evolution of the individual is characterized by this oscillation between opposites." Close quote. It seems that this is also true in social groups and organizations. I'd like to offer here some examples of the kind of opposites or tensions that have led to problematic situations for the followers of previous avatars. As Meher Baba's following grows, these types of tensions or oscillation between opposites may eventually affect and challenge all groups, centers, and individuals dedicated to Meher Baba and to preserving his legacy. Each of the following examples shares a common structure. Each presents